Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Arun.thukral. I'm a life and a leadership coach, and today I'm going to talk about the successive topic on management and leadership. And this time I'm going to talk about when to lead and when to manage. But before I get into this topic, I also want to share that, and I presume that you have seen my last video where we talked about what are the 9 differences between leader versus manager. Because if you are listening this video, I would still recommend that you should watch that video first and then you should watch this video, then it will make a lot of sense. Just to give a very quick recap, in the last video we covered about that why you need to understand the differences between leadership and manager, because that is the premise and that is the need of the hour, that why organizations are searching more leaders than managers. Because leaders are the one who think long term, they build vision, they take people into consideration, they motivate them, they coach them, and they create more leaders. Whereas managers, they work on managing the things, they work on creating systems, processes, they work towards building the productivity. But now the question comes that both leadership and management are the two sides of the coin. You cannot say that, okay, I'm just a leader and I don't need to be a manager, because leader word looks very attractive and this is what the organizations are looking out on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, I am creating this video for you to understand that why leadership and management both are important, and likewise when to lead and when to manage. Once you understand these two areas very clearly, it becomes easier for you to do your job with high productivity, and also you can lead and manage your teams more effectively, and obviously you will be setting up yourself in front of your top leadership team that why you are the right fit, who has a good balance of leadership and management. And this is what they are expecting from the top side, that you should be behaving an efficient leader while using the management things. Well, if you are with me, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. I'm going to tell you what it is all about so that you learn from this video. Now, let me share some personal experiences, my personal stories about making you understand what is the difference between leadership and management. So let's begin with the first phase of my career when I became a people manager. When I became a people manager, my understanding was that how I can get the best out of my team and how I can keep them in control, so that I wanted them to do what I say, and I wanted them to listen to me whenever I give them any command or I give them any order or if I give them any suggestion. So in other words, I wanted to control their activities, and also I wanted to see that how I can motivate them, how I can engage them so that they fulfill their role. The outcome was that over a period of time, I started focusing more on building processes, reports, various kind of reviews, weekly meetings, monthly meetings, review formats, what they have done well, what is the forecast, against forecast, how much they have achieved, where they are, where they have to go, and all that kind of thing. Eventually, after 1 year, I came to know that my leadership style was highly focused towards micromanaging my team and just working on building processes and systems, whereas there was no leadership intent beyond occasionally motivating them and taking them out for team building activities. So my learning as of today, when I'm giving you an experience, I was only working towards managing, controlling processes, and that's where the role of management or the role of a manager I was doing. I was not at all thinking about what is the role of a leader. In fact, I was not even aware about it. Then my second phase of leadership came after a couple of years of my learning, that if you really want to achieve something big, you first have to set your eyes very clearly that what you want to have first. People will come later. So that was the time that I remember I was working as a sales head, and the goal was to achieve a bigger task. We had a given target, which was a very big task. But beyond that, I was thinking that no doubt I have to achieve that number, but what all things I will do. And that's where my thinking ability started to shape up, and I was thinking about a bigger vision. Okay, how do I do certain activities that will help me to achieve that goal? Obviously, I will achieve my numbers. So which means engaging customers at a bigger level and bringing a big change in the in the product segment that I was working upon. And that's how I took my time in researching, meeting customers, meeting clients, understanding what are their needs, and basis that I created a vision chart that what exactly I'm going to do it. Of course, with the help of my own teammates, my marketing team, my medical team, and various other factors. And then I could chart on it. And then the second phase started, that how these people, my stakeholders, my teammates, my peers are going to be used to me or help me in achieving that. So for that, I need to communicate effectively. I need to motivate them. I need to also see that what are the capabilities of my team and how I will be working closely with them to see that we cover the distance and achieve the ultimate goal. So it was a long-term approach. There was a very holistic approach. And then I also started using certain processes to measure the outcome, productivity, and also setting up the accountability within people that they understand what is expected out of them. And the result was that I was rated as one of the high parts in the management system in the organization, which means that certifies that I was good as a leader and I was good as a manager in the role that I was doing. Now, the learning here is that when you work towards a larger vision, when you look at things from a bigger perspective, bigger picture, when you coach people, develop their capabilities, when you work towards managing stakeholders, involving everybody, thinking abilities are sharpened, you work as a leader. So both the examples clearly say that, how you can become a leader and how you can become a manager. But now we have to understand in which place, when to use when effectively, so that people understand its importance and they also realize that what it is going to make a difference. So in the next part, I'm going to tell you all those differences, which all those reasons that when to use a leadership style and when to use a management style. And I'm sure you're gonna learn a lot. So let's first start with when to manage. The first thing that comes to my mind is when to manage is when there is a crisis. Now I'm sure in a people manager role, you will always come across various kinds of problems and crisis on a day-to-day basis. Crisis can be, there are financial constraints, there are budgetary constraints, there is a shortage of raw material, there is a shortage of product, there is a customer complaints that are coming very frequently. There are issues which are with respect to lack of adequate resources with respect to people, and that can lead to crisis. Suppose you have got a team of 5 or 6 people and let's say 2 people leave the organization. That can lead to crisis because the work will pile up. Now, when you are in this kind of a situation, you really need to manage. There is no point of giving a motivational talk to your people and boosting their morale. It is important to understand what is the root cause of the problem. Then you have to think about your management skills in terms of problem solving, and then basis that decision making. So very clearly, it is the management approach in the crisis that is going to work, rather than thinking about how to motivate people or how to set a vision at this point of time. The second area where you can manage and use your management skill is particularly when it comes to delegating responsibilities to people. Now think about it. Let's say that you have a team which is new, or you are new to the team. There can be any situation. Now that is the time you may not know what are the capabilities the particular individuals have and what are the things that they are good at, what are the things that they are not good at. And at that point of time, you cannot just delegate the responsibilities on your own. You first have to really understand how they work, what is their potential, and what best you can make out of them. And only once you understand, so here it comes your management approach. That means you really need to understand all these factors in an individual, and then step by step you need to delegate things that they can start delivering. So a very simple example, let's say there is a new guy who has joined and you believe in your leadership style that you go out, you win the market, you win the customers, you win the deals, and this guy goes and he does certain things which are not in compliance practices. So what will happen? He has goofed up and he will always say that this is my boss who has told me, he motivated me to go and meet. Or maybe he goes to a customer who fires him back left, right and center because he never knew what was the past history around it. This is where your role comes, and that's where your management role comes, that you need to understand the potential. You need to make that person understand And this is not about somebody I'm referring to as a fresher. He can or she can be a senior person also, but here in the system that person is new. So which means you need to take your management control in ensuring that the person knows everything with respect to policies, systems, processes, and then they go out and work towards the goal. The next phase where you can use your management style is in situations when you have to deliver projects with tight guidelines, which means that there are people who are involved in that project. They need to understand and realize what is the role that they are playing, and each one of them have to contribute in delivering those projects within the tight deadlines. So which means you need to bring out your management skills in terms of how you can get the best out of each person to enhance productivity and also time management skills, so that people are able to deliver things on time, because anything which goes mismatch will really create a chaos and you might be not able to meet the expected deadlines. Which means you will see that in these situations creativity is not going to be much of a task, because here it is about delivering the results. It means that people are clear what they are supposed to do, but it is you as a manager who has to set certain processes, certain systems, certain checks, certain balances that will help in getting the right output. So for example, let's say you have a project and you have to deliver it on a given timeline. Now what you do as a manager is you create a system. You have everybody, let's say there is a production guy, there is a manufacturing unit, there is a marketing unit, let's say there is a supply chain unit, there is a customer service. So each one of them is given a designated role. So you delegate responsibilities accordingly and set timelines for each other. So that's where you work in creating systems, processes and checks, so that people understand where and when and how they have to contribute to the overall thing. And that's how your management skills would be of great use. The next area where you can manage and use your management style is setting up coaching process and appraisal systems. I'm sure as a leader and as a manager, your role is to understand and evaluate the efficiency of your people. That means you want to understand what is their outcome and productivity levels. So if you have to work on those productivity levels, you have to set certain criteria, that what is going to tell that this is low means 1 and high means 10. So what are those areas that will define that? And what are those parameters? What are the key results areas? So that means you are creating a process, you are creating a system, and in that you need to apply your management skill, because you want to take control. Also you want to give clarity to your teammate that this is where you will be evaluated at the end of the year. So thinking about all these parameters will bring your management style, because you want to work in tandem with your teammates so that they can produce better results, so that they can produce efficient results. And in order to do so, they need to know what are the parameters, where are they going to get judged, what is it that is going to give them better increment. So you have to bring your analytical mind in understanding how to get the best productivity from your people. Now we come to situations when to lead. As I said, the role of a leader, core role, is to build a vision, look at the big picture, see the capabilities of its people, and then bring other stakeholders together to achieve that vision. So this is the role of a leader. But now when to lead? As I said just now, that when to manage. So when you are able to bring your team to a level that they are able to perform their duties, responsibilities and their core tasks skillfully, and they are able to perform very well in those roles, that means you have become capable now to do things at the next level. Now your team is set, they are confident about what they are going to do. Now it's time to take the role of a lead and a leader to start thinking what next. Because you cannot become like a worker or a co-worker along with them and start doing on a day-to-day operations. That you have already done when you manage them well. Now it's time for you to think and lead what next, what are the threats, what are the opportunities in the market, and what is the next plan that you will have for the next year or maybe year or two, so that you are thinking ahead of time, and that's what makes your team confident about you as a leader. The second area that allows you to lead is when you trust your team members and you don't have to micromanage them. As I said earlier, that once you have made your team capable, you will always have a mix of people, and there are some high performers, there would be some low performers and medium performers. So when you know that you have got some good amount of high performers with the right set of attitude, you can always allow them to mentor the younger people, or who are underperformer or average performer. That's how you keep yourself free in making those strategical decisions that are going to define the next part of your business, of your strategy. But if you are not able to reach to this level, then you would be managing those people, managing their productivity, and you might get lost in that. So the sooner and the faster you are able to develop them, motivate them, and also set criterias for high performers to manage low performers, you set up yourself to lead and find out what is the next strategic step that you are going to take and move ahead. Another area that comes to my mind when you can lead is when you are introducing a new approach or a new system in the existing way of doing things. Let's say, for example, I remember that a long time back in our system, SAP was introduced to do all the work in the organization. So SAP is a online tool which is available, which is made by certain companies. So we were told to work on SAP, and we were all facing a lot of challenges because we never used to work on SAP. So there was a training module that was given to us online, and then we had to enter all the datas in the SAP model that was given to us. That was a new task that was introduced at a very senior level. Now this is where the leadership role comes, that how you involve and engage people to the larger vision of the organization. Or I also give you one more example. I remember a long time back, iPads were introduced to us. That was the first time that we had to move from the paper way of interacting with the customers or the brochures to an electronic way of doing things. That's a new approach that came into the system. It was very difficult for all of us, and we were saying that, you know, our customers are more used to the normal way of brochures, which are printed brochures to be used. And that was the time when it was very challenging. But I remember that our boss, our leaders, they made us understand that how the future is going to look like, how the customer is going to be more comfortable with e-platforms that are going to come in future in a very big shape. And when I look at last 10 years, I'm sure you all will agree that how things have changed drastically. So that means those leaders had a very clear vision that where they are heading to, and that's where their leadership skills of showing the big picture and where are you in that big picture makes. The next area where I feel that one can lead is during decision making times. These are those times when the teams look up to their managers, their bosses, because that's something only a leader can think about it. So let me give you an example. Long time back, there was an organization that wanted us to sponsor their event, and they were asking an amount which was beyond our limit. And we also knew the importance of that organization in giving us business in the future and their impact, that it will be a manifold impact of the business it can have in the coming years. But their demand was extremely high and it was beyond our limits. My entire team was pushing me that we should go ahead with this and we should sponsor this come what may, because this is not just one specific area, but it will have a lot of impact at a larger level, at a global level. And I knew that we were not in a position to sponsor that event, but we had some budgets. And at that time we took a decision, we took a collective decisions that we can only go with this budget, but we cannot go with this budget because that is beyond our limits. And if we go in that, it will hurt our budgets, our profits, as well as it will be a non-compliant activity. This is where your leadership, your leading skills come into role. Now, there could be a situation where I can tell my teammate to go and meet the customer and say, but this is also the time of leading, that you have to lead from the front. So not only that, I had to go and talk to the top committee members that what is our current challenge, what are our current situations, and there is a limit where we cannot go beyond that. and we offered the proposal to them that we will not only sponsor this year, but every year we are okay to collaborate with them in other activities and engage in different budget headings. This is where your team looks up to you. And then you have to come back to your team, give them that confidence that, okay, this is what you're doing. There are going to be some tough challenges, some tough times that these customers will tell us that we are not going to support you because you did not support us. So could be a situation that will come, but we'll work hard, we'll work together, we'll stay together, and then we will achieve our goal as a team. This is where leadership comes. This is not management. Well, friends, I'm sure you would have understood nicely about when to lead, when to manage, what is the importance of being a leader, but at the same time, what is the importance of being a manager, because both are two sides of the coin. You cannot become one and you say you ignore other. So like when you go to a gym, you cannot do bodybuilding of your biceps when your legs look weak. So which means it's a full structure, and it's like management and leadership is a full structure that gives you the complete picture of a professional. I'm sure if you have liked this content that I have just shared, please put a comment below. What is your learning out of it? How you are going to implement it in your working areas? And also don't forget to like and subscribe and share this channel with your peers, friends who can also get help from this. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching me.